Welcome to the Blue Collar Wealth Club podcast. I am your host, Jerry Garcia.
I'm your other host, Sheena Whites.
Today we wanted to discuss why it's important to invest in yourself. We'll talk a little bit about not only why, but different ways to invest in yourself, some monetarily and some not. Sometimes there's a lot of free ways to invest in yourself. They're actually very, very useful and can be a huge kind of springboard for you to take yourself to that next level.
Yeah. One of the other podcast episodes, I was talking about how I was listening to Joe Polish speak, and he was talking about, as business owners, us being the $1 million racehorse, and how we need to kind of take care of ourselves as if we were a $1 million racehorse. And so when thinking about why you should invest in yourself, I just came back to that and thinking, okay, you should treat yourself as that $1 million racehorse. And so if somebody has one of those, like, they're investing in that horse all the time, right?
Absolutely.
They're feeding it the best food. They're giving it the best trainers, has the best housing, all the things so that it can perform at the top of its game. And I think as business owners, a lot of times we forget maybe about some of those investments, like if I'm actually even eating,
Right.
I'm just eating whatever's available.
Definitely guilty of like, hey, I'm going to grab something really quick so I can eat really fast and get back to the next, next task at hand. So
yes, or snacking. You're a snacker.
For sure. It's a problem.
I'm a not eater. He's a snacker.
Yes.
Neither are really that great for you, but also investing in your mind and your growth. And that can be done just with your own self every morning. One of my mentors, he talks a lot about having like a morning formula and having time with yourself every morning just to reflect and really like center yourself in the day. And I know when I try to do that, it definitely seemed to have a better day.
Yeah, I think if we want to talk about a book that discusses exactly that, Miracle Morning is what it's called.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The Miracle
Tal
Morning.
Elrod. So don't ask me the name of the book, but I know who wrote it.
That whole book is based around like starting your day off with a certain sequence, and whether you follow his sequence or any other, having that routine of waking up, making sure you eat, making sure you have some water, making sure you have some time to kind of think and plan out your day, I think, and really helps kind of set that day up for success a little bit. Some of this stuff works. A lot about improving yourself and investing in yourself is making yourself uncomfortable. Getting into routine, antithesis of trying to grow. Growth happens in those uncomfortable moments, even in physical workouts, right? Talk to a trainer and they'll tell you that most of that muscle growth, most of that strength comes from those sets when you're absolutely at your exhaustion point.
Yeah.
So, doing the same lift for the same amount of reps week in, week out will keep you in a certain amount of shape, but it won't actually help you grow and build on that. So.
Yeah. I mean, and it's true with your muscles, like they can't grow unless they're first broken down. And for me, when people talk a lot about meditation, I'm a terrible meditator. Well, because I just started thinking, I'm like, I'm going to meditate. And then I just think about like the 10 things like, ooh, did I get milk? I don't know. Did I get milk? and then I'm sitting there for 5 minutes thinking about milk instead of meditating.
Right.
Not a good meditator. So if anyone has any great meditating tips,
try guided meditation.
Yeah, that just feels weird to me. I don't know. Just thinking about investing in yourself, right? Investing time. I think that that's a big thing when we're talking about morning formulas and what to do first thing, is investing that time into yourself. Because sometimes, especially as business owners, when you get so busy, you think, ugh, I don't have time for that. But if we're not investing in our bodies, then eventually they're going to break. And so then we will be forced to have time for it because we're going to be sick or we're going to be starving hungry and all the other things.
And that's true more for some than others. I mean, you and I work in much more of a sit-down office type environment where a lot of the people we speak to are working in a more physical, where they're kind of constantly exercising as part of their everyday work. So, their investment may look different than ours. And I know that with you and I, that is definitely a thing. We have to be cognizant of actually trying to do the physical work to keep our bodies in working order, where it may be the opposite. Somebody who works on a physical type job every day may need to invest more into their mind. Talking about maybe some of the investments we've made in ourselves over the years, one thing that I think you probably have better guidance on this, being more from the blue collar entrepreneurial world, but like conferences attending conferences where there's other people who have already reached the level that you want to reach, just to learn and grow and learn more things about your craft or your business, connect with people who may be able to help you further yourself in your business.
Oh yeah, actually in my concrete company, one of the things, like once we were finally profitable and doing well, one of the big things we did is every single year we went to the World of Concrete. And not only did we go as owners, we actually took our entire staff that we had, because we had certain guys we kept all year, and we brought them with us to the World of Concrete. We paid for the whole thing. And we also paid for them continuing education classes. So we said, okay, which things do you want to learn about? What do we want to get better in? We strategically said, okay, you're going to be in charge of this, you're going to be in charge of that, to our guys. And then we paid for them to have these classes so that every year, not only were we getting better as business owners, but our employees were getting better in their craft. Because if you have great employees that you're keeping year after year after year, investing in them to get better at their craft will only make you more money, because then they're faster. You can charge more for their product, all these different things that will make you a ton more money. And you can also then tell your clientele that you pay for continuing education every single year for your entire staff, which no one else does. And it gives you a huge strategic advantage when you're selling.
And that's one thing, right, about being in business of any kind. You're always trying to look for that thing that makes you stand out more than the next guy. I know in my mortgage business, I came from a place where I was a preferred lender for a builder, and that was easy. They're just handing us loans. Hey, you do this. And the way we stand out is basically the builders referring us. They're giving them incentives to use us. That was easy. But when I transitioned, once that account went away, transitioning to working on my own, I really found the struggle in talking to real estate agents who are primary referral partners, in how I was different than the 20,000 other lenders that literally exist in Colorado. One of the first things I invested in myself was a mastermind group. I came across a guy by the name of Nick Carpenter and a group called the Legion of Loan Officers. Not only made some great knowledge, some great education there, where I learned how to really utilize Facebook ads, how to generate ads for real estate agents, so that was a differentiator for me. But not only that, I met some amazing people through that group who I'm still in contact with that day, and we ended up starting our own mortgage company, which I still have some ownership in, even though I've moved on. Those types of conferences or masterminds, whatever they may be, can be great ways to just further yourself in ways that you weren't even necessarily looking.
Yeah, I love a good mastermind, just because you not only learn from the person who is facilitating the group, but a lot of times you learn just as much from the other people that are in the group. And that's why you have to make sure you're in the right mastermind, right? And you're investing in the right in the right room to be in. So for me right now, I just joined a mastermind, and it's been awesome just seeing all these other consultants in different types of consulting doing all these things.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you'll be surprised when you're in those rooms by you having gone through a scenario that somebody else is trying to work through right then. And while you may feel like, even if you're brand new to this group and you feel like everyone's levels above you, every once in a while, it's great to have that reminder that, hey, I'm really dealing with this, and it's something that you've already dealt with. And that's how we all learn and grow from each other, is through life experience. Having experience from somebody that you can help, that you feel like is above you, is great for self-motivating and saying, okay, I'm on the right track here. Sometimes you're in those rooms, and it's just such a great motivator to say and talk to these people, and to have them be interested in what you do and have them be excited for what you do. And that's such a game changer, just to be in those rooms with those people. Some of these masterminds cost money and others don't. To invest in yourself that aren't money necessarily. And one great way that is what you're doing right now. If you're listening to this, you're listening to a podcast on a topic that hopefully can help you down the road, or listening to books. We both like listening to books. Podcasts have been able to meet some of the people that we've known through these platforms, and been able to meet in person and really get excited and talk to. We're leveling up our circles as we go along.
Yeah, well, and it's great too when you see someone on a podcast, or then you see them on a stage, and then you get to talk to them in real life, and you recognize that most of them, well, all of them, even if they don't want to admit it, are just people like you and I. Wherever you are is just a place to start. And that's another reason why, I created the Contractor Cash Club, my mastermind for blue collar trades people, because I remember when I was trying to build my business, I mean, yeah, we went to the World of Concrete, but they had a lot of seminars and things like that about kind of surface level topics. And it was 1 week a year, but I really wanted more support and a place where I could be really transparent about not only what was going great in my business, but what maybe I was struggling with. And I really didn't feel like that place existed. I found some other masterminds, but they weren't really designed for the blue collar person. And so that's why I just felt like there was a need for something like that out there. And so I created it. So the Contractor Cash Club is all about, not just learning from me, but also learning from the others in the group and, things that they've tried and worked, or, ways to look at things differently, and really having a community where you can be where you are and really grow as a team, even if you're not working together directly.
Right. And I think that's why we're so passionate about this, is because we feel like we are very much those normal kind of everyday people that we've gone on our own grind for years. We've both separately before we ever met, just have been learning and growing and trying to further ourselves. And then we got blessed enough that we found each other, that we were not necessarily looking for partners. We had both come out of relationships that didn't work out. We were just working on growing ourselves. To find someone else in a partner who is as dedicated to growing themselves and making themselves better has been amazing.
Oh yeah. I see on the internet people all day, they're like, oh, I have a college education,
right,
but now I can only make, $40,000 a year. Tradespeople, skilled trades, I see them starting apprentices at like $16,000, $17,000 a year. For me, you can invest in yourself. It's not necessarily like people always think, oh, it's academically, it's college. But I think there's a lot of ways to invest in your skills, going to different trades groups, like I talked about the World of Concrete, and investing in your skill. How do you learn other areas of plumbing? Maybe you're a service plumber. Like I had one client, he was a service plumber, and then he was getting into pipelining because it was crazy good margins. That was a new skill, a new thing for him. Even with discounting for the first few clients, he still was making crazy margins. Right. So then once he was off to the races and he started that whole side of his business, he was able to more than double his revenue and triple his profits, because there was just so much better profit margins in pipelining than there was in service plumbing.
That's huge, because there's so many times when there's something that you hadn't even thought about. And I'll go to myself with the capital raising with multifamily syndications. I'd been working in the real estate space at that point for years. The only types of real estate investing that I knew was going to be like fix and flipping houses, or just buying a rental and renting it out. That's really hard to scale because you're buying one property at a time, and it takes time to build up enough of a down payment to be able to do it. And then you have to qualify for the loan.
Yeah. When originally he thought about pipelining, he was like, I don't know how to do that. So no, I don't do that.
Right.
And he was referring all that business out. And then one day he was like, well, maybe I should learn how to do that. Thinking about that in your own business, is there other things that you can do? Now, not to say going all the way to doing all the things, but being very strategic about it. But always investing in yourself every single day, either in time or your mind, in some way, making those investments into yourself to grow even just 1% a day, and you will be a completely different person in a year. And that's how you reach your dreams.
Yeah, I think this has actually been a better topic than we initially thought when we were discussing this episode. So I think it's great to just kind of wrap our minds around how much we've grown as people just by doing exactly what we're saying, just investing. The more knowledge you're giving yourself, the more ideas seem to flow, and the more you seem to be able to grow in whatever capacity you're looking for right then and there. I think that's all we got for this one, guys. So thanks for tuning in. As always, please check out the YouTube channel at the Blue Collar Wealth Club, and also the Facebook group at the Blue Collar Wealth Club. And we will catch you guys later.